Rubrik is a cloud and cybersecurity company that went public just a couple of months ago. It is trading below its IPO price, but growth has been coming in better than expected, and it's even the forecast coming in better than expected. This seems to be a commonplace trend in the markets right now, where other parts of software that don't necessarily play in AI directly are getting hampered. But let's talk about the fast-growing business of cybersecurity. We've got Anneka Gupta, Chief Product Officer of Rubrik. Anneka, thank you so much for joining us. And as the product officer, I know you're not as obsessed with the day-to-day moves in the stock market, but I'm curious about what you're seeing on the ground, this nervousness, this fear that companies are just more willing to spend on AI tech, and that's coming at the expense of other things. What's your experience been?
Our experience here at Rubrik is that we're in the business of securing companies' data and helping them make sure that they can recover from one of the biggest threats that they're facing today, which are cyber attacks. We're really focused on building an iconic company and building a long-term business. And the space that we're in is super critical. And we're seeing that across the globe in terms of the amount of demand and the amount of challenges that organizations are facing as they see heightened cyber attacks, increased scope, and increased impact.
So part of the strategy of growth has also been to get larger and larger customers. Give us a sense of how that's going, how you compete with some of your other formidable larger competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rubrik is a 10-year-old company. And when we started, we really looked at how do we revolutionize the business around cyber recovery. And this meant completely architecting our solution from a zero trust framework, architecting it for the reality of today, which is that data lives everywhere. It lives on premise, it lives in the cloud, it lives in SaaS applications, and being able to secure that data with one solution is incredibly operationally intense, can be very expensive, and is challenging. And Rubrik is very unique in our position of the way we have built our solution to ensure that organizations are safe and that they're actually able to recover very quickly in the case of a cyber attack, especially ransomware attacks.
How is Rubrik using artificial intelligence?
It's a great question. So artificial intelligence has huge opportunities, and I know you've been talking about that quite a bit on this segment. We are really focused on how do we take the complexity of cyber recovery, complexity around investigating what's going on during a cyber attack, and then figuring out how to get a business or organization up and running as quickly as possible, taking that complexity and shrinking it down. And we can do that through AI in multiple ways, both in terms of surfacing anomalies faster and then helping people that aren't always up to experts on security or up to speed on the latest threat vectors, get information quickly and respond to that. And we do that through our AI companion, Ruby, that's really focused on data defense and recovery.
So you use it as a tool. Does the more prolific use of artificial intelligence or generative AI also present cybersecurity vulnerabilities that a Rubrik solves?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately with any very powerful technology, it will be used for good by people who are creating new technologies, but also by bad actors. And so we see bad actors doing things like leveraging AI for social engineering to create deepfake audio or to create better phishing emails that look real. And that poses an increased risk to organization. Rubrik, again, is super focused on cyber recovery and helping people recover after an event. And I think all of these technologies are just making it easier and easier for cyber attackers to get into systems. So then having a strategy for how are you going to bounce back and minimize downtime when you have a cyber event only becomes more critical.
I wonder if we're headed towards a future where, I mean, you're talking about bad actors where there's a person and an intention behind that. If artificial intelligence kinds of evolves the way some like Jeffrey Hinton say, the bad actor might be the algorithm itself, right? Is that too philosophical to think about? Is that a problem you guys are thinking about solving, or is that a little too futuristic?
Yeah, I think we always, as technologists, have to be thinking far out about where's the world going and what can technology do. I think from a Rubrik here and now standpoint, the reality on the ground of the cyber threats that organizations are facing today are so imminent and so prominent that we're really focused on solving that problem. But certainly, like as a technologist and as a product leader, I think about those things in the future, and I think that it's going to take a collective effort across all companies, industries, research in the space, and legislation as well, to really figure out how we approach that problem as that becomes a reality, which I think at some point it may become a reality, but it's not a reality today. The technology still has a ways to go.
Anneka,